Good morning, Desmond. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Dude,
better than ever.
Your book, this is what I needed while it was happening, and I was that jock that was on afternoon drive or morning shows, and because I needed this information to share with listeners. This is a gift to everybody.
Oh, thank you for saying so.
To live it, though, and then to put it in paragraphs. I can't imagine what that journey was like. I mean, I realize you're a songwriter, but that's different than paragraphs.
Well, I had a wonderful collaborator, David Ritz, and we started the book 7 years ago. I call it my 7-year jailhouse confession because it was a real reckoning, the things I did right, but the many more things I did wrong, and taking responsibility. But woven through there is the creative process and how the things that happened in my life kind of were reflected in the songs that I've collaborated on.
It's interesting that you say the creative process, because I have put my whole entire soul, that's my mantra when it comes to sharing creativity with other people, that it is a process. It's about receiving. Now, what are you going to do with it? And how do you send it out so that others can receive it as well?
Well, the most wonderful moment is when you are writing a song and your souls are all one and all of that. And then you finish the song and then the nightmare begins. Who's going to demo the song? How are they going to demo it? How much is the demo going to cost? Who's going to listen to it first? The record company doesn't like it. But the wife of the artist wants it. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's a labyrinth of problems, and it's a miracle any song gets anywhere. Actually, there's so many obstacles.
See, this is every bit the reason why I call creativity an addiction, because no matter how we abuse our creative inner soul, we keep coming back to it. It's like, do it again. Oh man, let's feel it again.
Well, it is addictive because I think there must be some kind of endorphin, something, hoo-ha, that happens when everything comes together in a song and your head explodes with like, wow, I'm going to be rich again.
Let me ask you a question about how a song is received inside your creative process. I was with Steve Galansalves last week. He's a ghost expert. He says that creative people are tapped into frequencies. Do you believe that you're connected to a frequency?
Not quite sure what frequency that would be.
Right.
I just made a decision. Well, I was born to it. My mother, the Cuban bolero writer Elena Casals, known as La Musa, she was always writing a song. I didn't know people didn't write songs to express their emotions. And so I had that edge, and I guess maybe through the DNA also. My great-grandfather was a poet, and so it's in my lineage. So that makes it easier because there's no stop. And I never put my personal problems into a situation where it would stop me from being creative. Some people, they can't write if they're not happy.
Right.
I can write unhappy, happy, in between, whatever you want. I can always sit down. Everything goes away. That's the beauty of it. You can be in the creative circle. You put your phones away, and now it's you and your collaborators, and it's fun. It's playing in the sandbox. That's what I live for.
I'll tell you what really makes this book so special. I since I was a kid, Paul Stanley has been such a major part of my life. In fact, I've got one of his paintings in my living room. And the fact that you feature him in the foreword, my God, you won me over on page 1, dude.
Well, as I say, Paul Stanley taught me how to write stadium anthems the Kiss way.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of Paul Stanley in every song I've ever written. So I always say there would be no Desmond Child without Paul Stanley. That's for sure.
Wow.
He took me under his wing, and the first time he saw me, he said, "Hey, let's try writing a song together." We wrote a song called "The Fight," which was on my record with my group Desmond Child and Rouge. And then he said, "Okay, let's try writing a song for my group, Kiss." And I Was Made for Loving You popped out. I think I got the better end of that deal than he did.
Dude, you saying that right away, that took me all the way back to Kmart on 24th Street in Billings, Montana, buying that album because I had waited so long to get my hands on that album and that dang song.
I never, we wrote it and then I never heard it till I was in a cab somewhere. I was like, wait a second. That's my song. They had put it out. It was a hit all over the world. I was sort of out of it. And that's so exciting. When I go to Greece, they love, the kind of music that, I write, and so you'll hear one of my songs, during the cab ride or more, multiple, one after the other. And so that's why they love me in Greece. And I did a big concert of all my songs, and I had guest stars Alice Cooper, Bonnie Tyler, the Rasmus, Rita Wilson, wow. Kip Winger, and I filled amphitheater, 4,400 people, and I got to be a star for one night, and it was one of the most glorious things. So I'm so happy with my love for Greece, and my husband and I and our kids have been going there ever since they were little kids. So it's amazing, like in Europe. I mean, they didn't go through that whole thing where this stuff isn't cool. It's like they never stopped listening to Bon Jovi and Kiss and Aerosmith and Joan Jett. It's like water for them.
Let me ask you a personal question. In the way I realize the Songwriters Hall of Fame is very, very iconic. But what about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Don't you think it's time to put you in there in a way to where I can stand in front of that area at the hall and sit there and go, oh my God, if it wasn't for the power of this man's nib, the pen, I would not be where I am today because he shared it. He relinquished it to all of these bands.
That's a good idea. Why don't you suggest it?
Okay.
Somebody's got to nominate me. May as well be you.
So when you pick a title like Livin On A Prayer, do you find that prayer puts you in this position? Because, dude, everything that I do is because of that. So when I saw this title and I dove into it, I'm going, oh, he's on a journey. He's been called to do this.
Well, John Bon Jovi actually did call me, and Livin On A Prayer. I mean, it's more than a song. It's actually, every time it's played, it's a cultural event. I mean, there is not one play of that song that isn't accompanied by a fist in the air by the last chorus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true. I was in the studio at 107.9 when Livin La Vida Loca was given to us by a record rep. That connection between record reps and radio stations to me is a lost art. But man, this song continues to live today.
Well, I had gone back to live in Miami, Curtis and I decided we got away from that Northridge earthquake. That was really scary. So yeah. We went and we moved to Miami Beach, and I got to meet Ricky Martin, and I just said, well, you know what, I'm half Cuban, so I have these Latin roots. I love mixing styles together. So I want to put the arena rock, protocol in with Latin music. And that's where you get upside, inside out, Livin La Vida Loca, right? It's like it's fist in the air material. So, I think that's one of the reasons why that song basically was the ignition for the Latin music explosion that has lasted to this day. I mean, look at the success of something like Despacito that my friend Erica Ender co-wrote with Luis Fonsi. I mean, to me, I see that as a 20-year journey of Latin music. Yep. Just all the artists that we have that have crossed over has been wonderful, and that's why I helped to found the Latin Songwriters Hall of Fame, and we're in our 11th year. Wow! And it was something that was very needed.
Wow. I can't thank you enough for giving yourself permission to be so giving to the generations. And I mean generations. Like you said, it could be 20 years, it could be 50 years. Your presence is going to be felt for many decades.
Oh, I hope so.
Well, and this book puts a solid
Who
foundation.
wants to live forever? Who wants to live forever? I do.
Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you, Desmond.
Thank you, Arrow.
You be brilliant today, okay?
Okay.